Think that switching to diet drinks is the healthy choice? Now, what if I told you that the same drink that you're using to cut calories could be quietly raising your risk of things like diabetes, heart disease, or even fat gain without a single gram of sugar? Yeah, that zero calorie label doesn't mean zero consequences, unfortunately. So let's talk about what the research actually shows. We're not dealing with just internet myths here. There was a long term study published in the Journal of Diabetes Care. Adults who drank at least one diet soda a day had a 67% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, as well as a 36% greater risk of metabolic syndrome. Now, this was compared to those that skipped them altogether. There was another paper from the University of Minnesota that tracked participants for 20 years, and they found that frequent diet drink consumption was linked to increased abdominal fat and fat inside the muscle tissue. Now, just for reference, this is the same type of fat that drives things like insulin resistance and fuels inflammation. Even if you go to the World Health Organization, they recently, as recent as 2023, issued caution. Their guidance noted that long-term use of non-nutritive sweeteners, it showed that it was associated with higher risk of type 2 diabetes as well as cardiovascular disease. You then pivot over to the Mayo Clinic, and they summarize it perfectly. They say that while artificial sweeteners may help in the short term, daily use built up over years and years can actually correlate with higher rates of things like stroke, heart disease, and even early death. So I want to be fair, because in the day and age that we live in, there's a lot of people looking at more of the data and more of the science out there. These are observational studies that we're talking about right now, meaning that they show correlation, but they don't guarantee causality. However, when nearly every large-scale data set is pointing in the same direction, it's worth paying attention to. At some point, common sense has to meet hard facts and science. But here's the kicker. When you constantly trigger your sweet taste receptor without giving your body real sugar, real glucose, your brain and your gut get a bit confused. Sometimes insulin still spikes. Appetite regulation goes haywire. Over time, your metabolism may actually slow down. So that's why so many people drinking zero sugar sodas still struggle with things like belly fat and cravings. Now, I'm a physician who focuses heavily on total body health. We deal with structure, we deal with function, we deal with physiology. All this matters. And things like chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, and visceral fat don't just affect your labs. They affect your joints, your recovery, your energy, even how well your nervous system regulates stress and pain. So here's my challenge. For the next 2 weeks, I'd encourage you to swap your diet drinks for something like water. Do sparkling water, add a little bit of lime, maybe some unsweetened tea is a good option. And I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to your sleep, to your digestion, and focus. You'll likely see improvements with all these faster than you might even think. We've got to remember that health, real health, isn't about tricking your body, it's about supporting it.